Well, Israel has issued what the UN regards as an impossible deadline for residents in northern Gaza to leave their homes and move south. The United Nations says Israeli officials set a deadline for midnight local time today. That's 5 a.m. Singapore, Hong Kong time tomorrow morning. It has not been confirmed by Israel's defense force, which is preparing for the next major move in its war with Hamas.
There are significant combat operations ongoing, and we are preparing for future and the continuance of our combat operations, and out of an understanding that there are civilians here whom are not our enemy and we do not want to target them. We are asking them to evacuate so that we will be able to continue to strike military targets belonging to Hamas in the Gaza Strip.
The deadline, if it is upheld, means half of Gaza's population has 9 hours left in which to clear out, ahead of what Israel says will be significant military operations in Gaza City. Israel is urging Palestinians to move south of the river Wadi Gaza. If all 1.1 million people in northern Gaza move south, they would have to squeeze through 2 main roads and 7 bridges across the river. In southern Gaza, the only exit is the Rafah crossing on the border with Egypt. Now, evacuating northern Gaza is complicated. The city alone hosts more than 670,000 people and is one of the most densely packed places in the Middle East. The Israeli military dropped these leaflets into Gaza City, warning residents to flee south immediately. They say, in Arabic, Gaza City has turned into a battlefield and people can only return when permitted. Hamas has rejected the evacuation order, telling residents to stay put in their homes. Still, people are getting in their cars and fleeing Gaza. The United Nations has made multiple warnings against large-scale relocation and is urging Israel to take back its order. The Refugee Agency for Palestinians has called the evacuation order horrendous, warning that Gaza is becoming, quote, a hellhole. The Arab League, representing 22 Middle nations, has accused Israel of committing an atrocious act of revenge by punishing helpless civilians. Along the border, tanks have been firing artillery into the enclave. Armored vehicles are massing in the area, while hundreds of thousands of reservists are on combat alert. Israel says it has been trying to avoid civilian casualties and will continue to do so in upcoming operations, but stresses the country is at war. For more, Sarah Coates joins us live from Tel Aviv. Sarah, this 24-hour relocation, is it a hard deadline, even though the UN has warned it is just not possible?
Hello there, Raisu. Well, look, that remains unclear. Israel's Defence Minister Yoav Gallant, he was just asked that exact question during a press conference here in Tel Aviv with Lloyd Austin. He refused to answer it regarding that deadline, instead saying that Hamas uses civilians and its fabric of its population to hide behind. It's also he said there that we are going to destroy Hamas. We are going to destroy Hamas infrastructure and Hamas militants. So, look, I've just seen live images there of people fleeing from northern Gaza into the south. We're talking about people in cars with mattresses tied to their roofs. There are donkeys and carts with entire families in them, people even using bulldozers with their belongings in the tray in the front. So, look, it is certainly a horrendous situation. Just a short while ago, around an hour ago, Hamas put out a statement on its Telegram channel telling people not to leave northern Gaza, saying that Israel is conducting psychological warfare. So, you know, we do believe that some people may adhere to that. We heard some unverified reports that Hamas was actually blocking people from leaving, but we do know that some are, judging by these live pictures. Now, many doctors in the region, we know that these hospitals are absolutely straining under the load of people who've been injured. There have been more than 6,000 6,000 people injured in the Strip in the last 7 days due to this intense bombing campaign by Israel. Doctors say that they have no other choice to leave and try and treat these injured. But look, they are up against it. Given this intense blockade on the Strip, there's no medical supplies, no food, no water, no electricity going into the coastal enclave. And these doctors in there are pleading with the international community to open up a humanitarian corridor, saying that if that is not done, then these hospitals will simply turn into mass graves. So look, it is a dire situation, and judging by what we're seeing and hearing, it unfortunately looks like it will get quite a lot worse.
All right, let's follow up on that. Hamas may call it psychological warfare, but we have seen signs that you have reported as well, suggesting an imminent Israeli ground offensive into Gaza. How has the international community reacted to that possibility?
Well, look, the international community is firstly reacting with horror after last Saturday's events down in the south here in Israel. Now the international community is really holding its breath. We've seen a stream of international diplomats arriving here in Israel. Yesterday, Secretary of State Blinken was here. Now Lloyd Austin is on the ground. Ursula von der Leyen is here. And they are really trying to urge restraint. They are trying, to make sure that this conflict doesn't spiral out into the wider Middle East. We know that there is a massive aircraft carrier, US aircraft carrier, sitting in the East Mediterranean, and Lloyd Austin just did announce that another one is on its way, steaming across the ocean. Look, there is just so much concern, especially regarding the northern border there. Iran's top diplomat was in Beirut a little earlier, warning the US to rein in Israel to prevent a wider escalation. So certainly very worrying.
Oh, thanks. Sarah Coates for us there in Tel Aviv.